Giant orange records. Hi, my name is Stefan, and I want to talk to you about Record Store Day 2023. We've got quite an interesting list this year, quite a good list, and I just want to tell you about some of the releases and titles I'm really excited about. So, first off would be the Nuggets box set. It's a 5 LP box set. Now I've got the original Nuggets right here. This is a double LP. This is kind of like the Bible of psychedelic rock, compiled by Lenny Kaye, who was in Patti Smith's band, guitar player. And yeah, this, if you don't have this and you like garage rock or psychedelic rock, you need to get this. Because I already own this, the 2 LPs, I'm wondering what's going to be on discs 2, 3, and 4 of the Record Store Day release, because disc 1 and 2 are exactly the same as the original box set from 1972. Now, this is a reissue, it's more recent, and if you look at the Record Store Day website, they have not released the track list for discs 3, 4, and 5. And I'm thinking with a 5 LP release, that's probably going to be like upwards of $100. So we'll have to see what's on there. Apparently, some of the discs are songs that were originally going to be on Nuggets, but they didn't make the cut for whatever reason. Lenny Kaye has written new liner notes for the new box set, which should be pretty interesting. I love the liner notes for these garage rock comps, and this really was the first one. The next release I'm really stoked about is called Surfing the Great Lakes, and it's from the Sundays label. I really like that label. They put out quality stuff. Whatever they tend to release tends to get sold out at some point or another. So it's surf rock from the Midwest. You think surf rock is from California, maybe the East Coast, mostly California, but there must have been a great deal of surf bands from the Midwest. I checked out a couple of the songs from that on YouTube, and they sound pretty good. Another album I'm pretty excited about is Jonathan Richman Goes Country. Now, we all know Jonathan Richman from the Modern Lovers. That first Modern Lovers record is one of the greatest punk albums of all time. But it's really not all that punk. It's kind of dorky and geeky, and I love that about it. Jonathan Richman was a great songwriter. Everything he did was pretty darn good. This guy can sing, he can play guitar, he can write songs. Very, very well crafted material. And Jonathan Goes Country, I think that's from the late 80s or early 90s, which still a great period for Jonathan Richman. I saw him play live. He didn't do any Modern Lovers songs, but he did sign my Modern Lovers record, which is pretty cool. Next one I'm really interested in is Al Wilson, Weighing In. This is like an early mid-70s record. It's on his Bandcamp if you want to preview it. Sounds very, very good. Starts off with a Creedence cover, but it's soulful, like early 70s rock. And Al Wilson was known for his song The Snake, which is not on this album, but this is a solid soul groover album. Next one, man, Koko Taylor, I Got What It Takes. Koko Taylor is a great blues singer on Chess Records. The guitar playing on this album is insane. That album is available on YouTube. It might be on Spotify, I don't know. But I listened to it online somewhere on one of those streaming services. It is a killer blues album from like 1975. Like, who would have thunk that like you'd get like raw rockin' blues in the mid-70s. Definitely worth checking out. Next one, Shirley Scott, Live at the Left Bank. Wow, Shirley Scott is an organ player. She played the B3. And she was married to Stanley Turrentine, I believe, who was a sax player on a lot of jazz records, a lot of great jazz records. This is a previously unreleased album, so there's no way to hear it until you get it on Record Store Day. I think it's a double LP. Shirley Scott, killer female organ player. I think she started off in like the 50s maybe, and I think this album might be from the early 70s or something like that. It's definitely on my short list of things to check out this year. Next one, Howlin' Wolf live in Cookin at Alice's. Now this one's also available on Spotify. I think it was the only live album that Howlin' Wolf put out during his lifetime. And the bits that I've heard, really great stuff. Killer guitar playing. Howlin' Wolf being Howlin' Wolf. I think it's from 1971, 72, something like that. And yeah, this thing rips. Like, I would love to see that concert and have been in that room, but at least we got that recording. And yeah, Howlin' Wolf, everything Howlin' Wolf did. It's pretty good stuff. Next on the list is Raphael Saadiq, The Way I See It. This is a reissue of one of his earlier albums. It's kind of like Soul Revival. Came out in 2008 or something like that. It's been out of print pretty much since that time. He's definitely worth checking out. So, we also have Wilco's Crosseyed Strangers, which is a lyric from I'm Trying to Break Your Heart, which is, of course, the first track off of the wonderful Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. One of my absolute favorite albums of all time, and definitely my favorite Wilco record. This one took me a while to warm up to, but once it clicked, it really hit home. So Cross-Eyed Strangers, the Record Store Day special release, is live versions from around the time Yankee Hotel came out in 2001, 2002. Some live versions and some live takes from more recently, from maybe like 2022. And there's a couple alternate versions, alternate takes. I think this might have been a bonus disc on the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot Deluxe Edition that came out, I believe, in 2022. Now I'm still kind of on the fence about this because I listened to some of the deluxe editions of Yankee Hotel, and I just kind of have grown used to the original album. I've heard this so many times. I never get tired of this record. I hear something new every time I listen to it. It takes me to a new place in my mind every time I put this on. So I don't know if I can totally get down with the remixes and the live versions. Live versions are cool, but in that running order, I don't know, might be a little bit weird. And another one that caught my eye is Joe Strummer and his Mescaleros Streetcore. This is one of the last albums Joe Strummer made before he passed away. And you know, Joe Strummer, lead singer of The Clash, guitar player, Telecaster player. He really kind of was still on top of his game right before he passed away. And that album has some really, really good songs on it.
Other honorable mentions include April March and Bill Evans.
Think about Record Store this way now. I don't own a record store, so I don't really have a stake in this game. I'm just a music fan. Sometimes I sell the records I don't listen to anymore online. But you gotta think, what are new records going for? What are Record Store Day records going for? If anyone's been to a record store lately, you know records are expensive. And the price keeps going up, interest keeps going up. There's a lot of demand and not a lot of supply. Basic economics, right? But you gotta think, how much money would you want to spend on any of these record store day releases, and I like to take notes by hand. Writing things down helps me remember it a lot. But could you spend $25-30 on any of these albums, and what if it's not so great? That's the thing, is like some of this stuff you can't listen to before it comes out, but you gotta think, like, what are albums on your wish list? Like, or do you have the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band Part 1? And if you don't, like, I would say, if I didn't already have this record, something like this would be way higher on my list than just about anything on this Record Store Day 2023 release list. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, where are you going to spend your money? Are you going to put it on albums on your wish list? Do you have any albums on your wish list that are only coming out this year for Record Store Day? Like, I also made a wish list of albums that I don't have that aren't being released for Record Store Day. Here's the Record Store Day release list. Here's my other, wish list, which includes like some of the other West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band albums. Charlie Musselwhite, Stand Back, some of the Ramones albums, like, got that one, the first one. That's the only Ramones album I have, I think. I'd like to get my hands on some of the other ones. There's Sonic's albums. I don't have any of their stuff on vinyl. Some of the British Psychedelic Trip stuff. Some Harry Nilsson albums I don't have. There's Olivia Tremor Control albums that I don't have. And just all kinds of stuff. You got to think, like, make a list of your favorite Record Store Day albums, and maybe some of your other albums that are must-haves that you eventually want to put in your collection, and go in there with a budget in mind and try not to overspend. Anyway, I'm Stefan, and that's my 2 cents. Hope y'all have a great listening experience and have fun on Record Store Day. Now, I'm not one of those guys that gets up really early and waits in line all night. I just wake up whenever I wake up, and I go there, and if they don't have the records I want anymore, oh well.
Giant orange records.
Record.